Hi, hello, this is King Fantastico again. I just thought I'd make another video about the scriptures that are used in the Bible to comprehend the shunning process that the Watchtower utilizes to its members that don't agree with doctrines. And now, two scriptures in the Bible that they use for this. Um, I've seen these scriptures from a video from Watchtower Myths, and I thought I'd just re-emphasise on these old scriptures and let just you lot out there know how my personal opinions about it is, my personal feelings is about this. Anyway, I'm going to show you these scriptures. The first scripture is 1 John chapter 2 and verse 19, and the other scripture is 2 John verse 10. Let me just read you the first one, which is 1 John chapter 2 and verse 19. It says, and this is from the New World Translation one, it says, "They went out from us, but they were not of our sort. For if they had been of our sort, they would have remained with us. But they went out, that it might be shown up that not all are of our sort." So what does the scripture tell you? The scripture says that if they were from our sort, if they were one of us, they would have stayed with us. That's basically why they use the scripture. But in order to understand scripture again, you have to see the other. It's just one scripture, so you need to find out what the scripture actually means. Always read the scriptures that are above it before in the same chapter, which will emphasize what it means if you don't quite understand. And the easiest way to understand this is we'll go one scripture upwards. We'll go to verse 18. It says, "Young children, as it is the last hour, and just as you have heard that the Antichrist is coming, now even now there have come to be many Antichrists, from which we gain part that the knowledge is the last hour." Okay, so that scripture says that the Antichrist is coming. The Antichrist is here. There are loads of Antichrists banks, basically in other words false prophets, and that they are leading people away, and that anyone who doesn't remain with us is being sent away by the Antichrist. So this scripture emphasizes that anyone who doesn't remain with the Lord will leave. But the Watchtower utilizes this to say that if you leave them, then you will not remain with them and you're not of their sort. Well, now let's read the other scripture, which is 2 John verse 10, and it says, "If anyone comes to you and does not bring the teaching, never receive him into your homes, or even say a greeting to him." Well, you see the Watchtower uses this to utilize that if they do not bring the teaching, never receive them into their home. But then you get puzzled, because when you read the scripture at first, before Jehovah's Witness will emphasize it with you, or if you're in the Watchtower already, then you'll come to think in your head, bring what teaching? So, but the easiest way to do this is like I say in the last one. If you don't get a scripture specifically, read from the start of the chapter that the scripture is contained within, and that will give you more of an understanding and the meaning as to what the scripture actually is emphasizing. So I'll do this again, and I will read one up in verse 9, and it says, "Everyone that pushes ahead and does not remain in the teaching of the Christ does not have God. He that does remain in this teaching is the one that has both the Father and the Son." So now we can see that scripture that they use, 2 John 10, actually says, if you do not come to the teaching of the Christ and that you don't have the Father and the Son, do not greet him into your home or speak to him. So the Watchtower will use this and say, well, if you're not, as it says in them teachings, and you don't accept them, don't bring them to your own. That's not what Scripture is saying. The Scripture is actually saying if you don't accept the teachings of the Christ and you don't receive both the Father and the Son, then you do not greet them into your homes. So what does this tell you? Jehovah's Witnesses actually don't remain in the teachings of Christ. They've gone outside the teachings of Christ, because Christ did not teach when he was about that he came back invisibly in 1914. This was never prophesied in the Bible. Prophesied in the Bible will teach as they say it does. Also, only 144,000 people will go to heaven, while the rest will reside on paradise earth. This is a teaching that Jesus Christ did not teach. So now we see from the scripture that actually it backfires on themselves, because they do not accept the teachings of the Christ, and they don't have the Father and the Son. Because they are Jehovah's Witnesses and they only emphasize on Jehovah and they say Jesus is a mere creation, then according to the scripture they don't have the Father, or they only have the Father, they don't have the Son. They only see the Son as a creation, so they don't have the Son. Because remember, as the scripture goes, there's a scripture that says, I think in John somewhere, it says that Jesus and the Father and I are one, and to get to the Father, you can only go through me. So, through going through the watchtower to get to God, then means they're not going through Jesus. So in fact, they're again not embracing the teachings of Christ, which is what 2 John 9 says, which emphasises what 2 John 10 says. So they're that way. Actually, in fact, then if you want to abide by the scriptures properly, then if you see Jehovah's Witness, don't invite them to your homes, or even say a greeting to them. But then that'd be bad, because in fact then you're not showing them the real truth. You're just telling them to go away. So don't be misfooled. Don't let them use the scripture against you. You see, the teaching is, if they don't have the Father and the Son, you do not associate with them. It's basically what scripture says. Ciao.